Hey guys, welcome back to the Chicana Boxing podcast. The reason this podcast is going to be strictly audio is because right now I look like a 7-Eleven dumpster crackhead because I'm so sick. And yeah, my nose is an open faucet of mucus at the moment, and I really doubt y'all want to see that. You might just hear sniffles here and there, but that's about it. I don't want to go into the Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell fight too much because I already did a live for it and kind of got all my opinions out there. And then the Ramon Alvarez versus Lara, same thing. I don't even know why that fight happened. Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I don't want to live in a world where either of those guys, or, you know, now Lara is considered a fucking champion. So I don't know. I don't get it. But all right, I guess. So let's just get on with the boxing news this week. Anything relevant, anything that got a buzz going on social media in the boxing community. First off, we have Usyk. I am very fear Usyk finally revealed his heavyweight debut opponent, which is some former kickboxer whose first name I forgot, but last name is Sponge or something like that. And that fight is set to be in Chicago, I believe in October. So I know a lot of people have, certain feelings about this opponent being, an easy way out for Usyk. And it's like, come on, he's a former kickboxer. Yes, he's undefeated. Yes, he has some knockouts. And he just fought, I think, this past Saturday, too, in Mexico. And he finished that fight by knockout, I believe. But what's weird as fuck is that I checked his box rack to see, like, what round that knockout came in Mexico, and it just has question marks. And I'm like, so they don't, it doesn't show what round the other guy got knocked out. It just literally shows question marks. And I'm just like, all right, maybe I'll check that later and figure it the fuck out. But basically, when I talked to Eddie Hearn in the undercard, when I talked to Eddie Hearn when he was at Estrada versus Beeman, I was kind of pressing him a little bit about, Usyk and his opponent and when the fight was going to be announced. And he basically told me that it just wasn't going to be Takam because Takam had signed with somebody else. So that was not going to be his opponent anymore as it was originally scheduled when Usyk first announced that he would be moving up to heavyweight. If you want to check out that interview, it is on ChicanaBoxing.com or on my YouTube. So you guys can check that interview out. But again, I know people are feeling a certain way about this guy being Usyk's opponent. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. Especially the fashion that Usyk has been finishing his opponents or beating them this past year or the year. We had him do a boxing clinic with Gassiab. We saw him knock the fuck out of Tony Bellew or whatever the hell you say his name. So we seen him both, do both tactical work and look amazing as fuck in the ring, and then do some beast shit like the manner that he knocked out Tony Bellew in. So it's like, this might be a little bit like, oh, come on, really? So I get it, but at the same time, you know what? I don't know if it's just me liking Usyk because he's a nice guy and he's a character, but I'm not too mad about it. I feel like, okay, it's his debut or whatever. Let him fight. Let him get his toes wet. You know what I mean? Let him get his toes wet in the division. And this guy's undefeated. So, hey, let's give him a little bit of credit for that. Of course, I would have liked to combat or Povetkin. And I'm pretty sure so would have Usyk. But, Takam fell off. Povetkin in the beginning, apparently he didn't want no smoke. So it's like, what can the guy do? But I just feel like he's waiting regardless for that fight between Joshua and Andy to finish so then he can have a shot because he's already the WBO mandatory for the heavyweight title. So it's like, it would have been better for him to face a better opponent at heavyweight, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have another fight before facing the WBO champion, whether that be Andy or Joshua again. So, at the end of the day, I feel like it doesn't matter who he debuts against. Like, I don't think that's going to be the part that is significant. I think it's just waiting to see how much of a dent he's going to make in heavyweight division, if any, and how he's going to look against those guys, not whoever the fuck he debuts with, because who cares? People, we want to see him against the top of the division regardless. So that's definitely going to happen, and I'm really excited to see it. But I understand people being like, man, who the fuck is this guy? But at the same time, it's like, no, I give him a pass because, again, it wasn't up to him to face this guy, I'm sure. And, he's eventually going to face who we want to see him against. So, you know what? Fucking Tyson Fury's fighting Wallace or whoever. And, he's supposedly he is a better champion, and has been a champion at heavyweight. So if we can give Fury a pass, we should definitely be giving Usyk a pass too in his debut. Another thing that happened this week is this one kind of messed me up a little bit. Babyface Danny Roman, who is super bantamweight, he actually pulled out of his fight against Akhmadaliev. I think I don't know I'm sorry if I butcher these people's names, but these guys have the longest names. And it sucks because that fight was supposed to be, I believe, in the Devin Haney undercard in New York, September 13, I believe, on DAZN. And this was a really intriguing matchup because his opponent, who was a mandatory, he has, I believe, only 6 fights, but he has 5 KOs. And this little kid he's not a little kid, but this guy has power. He has really nice power. It's obvious by the way he's been putting his opponents to sleep that it would have been an interesting matchup against Danny Roman, who's more of a passive guy. Yes, he stands in and trades, and we saw this against TJ Dehaney, that even when he's hurt, when he was severely hurt that 7th round, he still was, in the middle of the ring or against the ropes, but trying to fight back, which was not the smartest thing in my opinion, but that's his style. That's what he does. So it would have been an awesome fight to see how this kid was going to take an opportunity against this guy who just stands in front of you and comes forward. I'm not saying Babyface doesn't have any, boxing ability, because he does, but I think he's still more into, coming forward and giving you a fight, regardless of how many punches you're landing on him. Now, I did see a lot of people, again, on social media be like, oh, this motherfucker's ducking. He knows he's going to lose, so he's just going to fake an injury and, try to avoid his mandatory. And I think that sucks. It sucks when boxing fans are fucking corny like that, because, especially against someone like Danny Roman, because from what we've seen, he made 4 title defenses, right? 4. I think 1 with DAZN before unifying with TJ Dehaney, also in DAZN. But this motherfucker made title defenses and he unified. So I think he made 4 title defenses and then tried to unify. And it's he gave us probably one of the best fights of 2019 against TJ Dehaney. Didn't back off, didn't shy off from a challenge. That we knew that was also going to be a tough fight because TJ, as people didn't know who he was much, but he was also undefeated, I believe. So it's he went toe-to-toe with that guy. Full, warrior shit. And why would he shy away from a challenge now? Sometimes I don't like the word ducking, period, but at the same time, some are valid concerns of ducking. Others are just ridiculous. And I feel like this one is pretty fucking ridiculous because with Danny Roman's record and how he's been literally fighting good opposition and defending his titles and unifying and he was taking the right, he's always been on the right track and very respectful of the rules, and he's been doing that, just that. So when people are saying he's ducking, that's fucked up. He basically pulled a shoulder. His people are saying that he has tendonitis or something like that. So it's he can't spar, he can't train. There's a lot of that he can't do. So how are you going to train for a fight against a legitimate opponent and not train properly? That's just not how the fuck it works. But, people on the internet are always going to talk. So, that sucks. But at least we still got Devin Haney fighting on September 13, which is not next weekend, but the next one. So that should be good, right? But you know what? Let's just move the fuck on to what is really getting a buzz in, boxing, Twitter, boxing, Instagram, just all over the fucking social media spectrum. We got KSI, is that his name, KSI? And Logan Paul. Now, I vaguely remember the first fight because, to be honest, I didn't watch it. But I did watch some highlights, and all I remember is that Logan Paul and this KSI fellow were fighting like amateur style with headgear, but all I kept seeing was like them doing little Fortnite dances and shit. And I just didn't get it. Like, I was like, okay, this is obviously an exhibition match for, like, YouTubers and the little 8-year-old kids who have a favorite YouTuber against the other kids who have a favorite YouTuber. And, that's what it is. Now, these guys are having a rematch without headgear on DAZN. That's right. On DAZN. This fight between two YouTubers is now going to be on DAZN. And this has people so either fucked up or excited. It's really 50-50 right now how people feel about this fight. And I just find it really interesting because as much as you may feel a certain way about this fight, whether it's to one position or the other, you really have to take in, that there's valid points for both fucking sides. Because for once, let's see, I can see the business standpoint of it, right? Because at the end of the day, DAZN needs to make money. They need to make all that money back for paying Canelo and Joshua and all these fucking fighters that they have that they overpaid for. I don't want to say overpaid because fighters deserve to be paid, but they really, really went out and spent a shit ton of money on gathering their stable. So they got to make that money back. We saw that they made their price go up to $20 a month or $100 a year, which $100 a year I don't think is bad at all. But, I know a lot of people that are really against DAZN and streaming services who make a case that it's not good for boxing and stuff like that, which, I don't agree with, but I get, again, their valid points. Now, with this one, the valid points that I see financially is like, okay, how many people are going to tune in that month, November, I believe it is. How many people are going to spend that $20 so they can see that fight between these YouTubers, right? All the little kids are going to borrow their parents' credit card and, put in them numbers and sign up to DAZN, or they're going to ask their parents, or their parents are going to forget to cancel that shit. And, it brings in new subscribers, yes. But retention. And that's what I want to get at with the whole forgetting to cancel thing. Because, yes, of course, it's going to bring more or less shit to the, fucking little YouTubers stealing their parents' credit card. But how much retention is DAZN going to have? Or are they not really caring about, retention? Do they just want to make whatever they can off of this big event and then call it a day? And anything that they can retain is just extra, which is also possible, But at the same time, it's like, why... And to me, it doesn't make any fucking sense, because how do you claim at the same time that, we new eyes for boxing, we can bring new people to boxing, new people can fall in love with boxing, like, it doesn't hurt to kind of bring in a new platform, new audience to this platform, right? Like, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to put on two YouTubers on DAZN and hopefully the little kids fall in love with boxing and they stay, right? And this is my comeback to that. I personally don't get how anyone's supposed to fall in love with boxing with these two guys who don't box professionally on the regular. Like, they fought the first time, which was basically a sparring session. And then the second time, okay, now they're going to spar without headgear, which should obviously make shit more entertaining and interesting. But they've never gone through the sacrifices that real boxers have, So it's like, how are they going to make somebody fall in love with boxing? Because the people that are going to be coming over, they're fans. They're not people who enjoy boxing. They're just people that want to see their favorite YouTuber engage in some other form of entertainment. It has nothing to do with boxing. Now, they want to put Billy Joe Saunders in the undercard, and I don't want to sound fucked up, but I would not fall in love with boxing fucking watching Billy Joe Saunders. And I'm not being a hater. Like, Billy Joe, he has, really great technical ability in the ring. He made David Lemieux look foolish in the ring. Like, we all have that that's that memory in our heads where he literally was looking for that punch that Lemieux threw, and he literally put his hand on his. Sorry, I'm sick and I'm kind of delusional right now, but that shit was funny as hell. We all have that image. You guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. Where he, like, Lemieux threw that punch, and Billy Joe was like, "Where'd that go?" And he, like, looked into the stand. So anyway, yeah, as funny as that was, I don't think if I didn't know boxing and I was just reaching out and I saw this in the undercard, I wouldn't be like, you know what? This is fun. I'm going to stick around and, you know, see what else these guys got going on. No offense. I just wouldn't. You know, I really wouldn't. I think, in my opinion, what DAZN should have done is put these guys, you know, these YouTuber guys, in their fight, because, of course, it's going to draw in a lot of people. But maybe reach out to other YouTubers and be like, hey, motherfuckers, y'all want to fight on this undercard for, like, and give them, like, low ball offers. YouTubers will do anything for money. Anything. Like, they do the dumbest shit. Like, they would do it. So imagine telling someone, like, oh, I'll give you, I don't know, like, even the smaller influencers, like $1,000, you know, $1,000 each, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 at most. It's like, YouTubers, again, they do it more for the influence, for the, you know, for the promotion. They don't really, you know what I mean? So it's like, just get other motherfucking YouTubers and do that. Because I talked to David Benavides on Tuesday, and I asked him about it. You know, I was like, hey, David, I'm like, what do you think about these YouTubers? You know, I was like, what do you think? And he's, you know, he was respectful in the way, too. He's like, I'm not going to knock their hustle. He's like, they're making millions. And the first fight, you know, like I heard was $100, and people, it was on the stream, and people were buying it. And, you know, that's their hustle. You know, we can't knock their hustle. And then when I asked him, like, oh, that's true. And I'm like, well, would you fight in that undercard? And he straight up looked at me. He's like, no. He's like, hell no. He's like, I would never fight in the undercard of a YouTube star. He's like, thank God I'm not with DAZN. And I have an interview with David that you can find on ChicanaBoxing.com or Chicana Boxing on YouTube.
I would never fight an undercard of a YouTube star. You know what I mean? That's just me, but thank God I'm not on DAZN.
That wasn't in the interview, but, you know, off the interview, not off record, but just after, we were talking about it, and it was just like, he said that, you know, him as a younger fighter, he's been training his whole life. You know, all boxers have been making sacrifices, daily sacrifices. They give up their whole fucking life to be fighters, you know? And for, it must feel like shit for some YouTubers to just come in and be like, hey, I'm going to be headlining and you're going to be an undercard. You know, and they're making millions while you might not make, you know, maybe some $100,000, but you're not gonna make millions like the main event. So again, I that's just my personal opinion too. I have to agree with David on that. It's like, yes, we can't knock their hustle. You know, you can't. They're famous for a reason. That's just the way shit is nowadays with these newer generations. YouTube is their main form of entertainment. But to combine them with boxers themselves who sacrifice everything to maybe even not even headline, just to be put on a televised bout or on a big name card. You know, fighters fight and they give up everything to be in these big cards, big name cards, be co-mains, be, you know, maybe a hometown show. And then you get YouTubers just gonna come in and be like, oh, excuse me, yeah, I'm gonna headline and make millions, and then you're gonna be in the undercard. It must suck, you know that. So that's I'm not against the KSI versus Logan Paul bullshit fight. Like, it's just another Mayweather McMuffin fight. But, you know, I don't know. And Mayweather McMuffin, I also didn't watch it. I just saw highlights. But I know that had Gervonta, right, in the undercard. And it's like, you guys told me, did that give Gervonta, like, a bigger name? Because I feel like Gervonta has made a name for himself because of the way, you know, his knockouts and stuff. So had he not been on that Mayweather undercard, would have that changed anything at all? Because I honestly don't think so. And same with you know, them trying to stack the card with, like, boxers and champions. It's like, I honestly don't think the people who tune in, who are coming in for these YouTubers alone, because of course the people who are already like boxing, who are already subscribed to DAZN, we're gonna tune in just porque somos unos pinche bola de chismosos and wanna see what the fuck's going on. You know, we want to be amused, or even the people that hate it, that are like, oh, this is fucking stupid. Trust me, and especially if they have DAZN, they're gonna tune in. You're gonna watch that shit. So it's like, it's normal, right, for us to want to tune in, nomás para ver el desvergue que se hace. But for fucking YouTubers, I don't think they're gonna literally sit down at like 4 p.m. or 6 p.m., whenever the fuck the stream starts, and just sit through the whole undercard with real boxers. That's why that's my point at the retention and the, you know, the comeback at, oh, you know, we need all the eyes we can get so maybe people fall in love with the sport. How? I really don't think these guys that that you guys are targeting, this audience, the YouTube audience, they don't give a fuck about boxing. They just want to watch their YouTubers. So do I think they're going to sit down again at 4 p.m., bring in their pizza, bring in their homies, and watch the whole fight? I strongly doubt it. Will they fall in love with the sport by watching Billy Joe Saunders, you know, do his master tactical ability in the ring? Are they gonna be like, ooh, yes, I can't miss this, I want more of this? I strongly doubt it. Right? Now, will there obviously be retention because parents are just gonna forget to take DAZN off for a couple months because they maybe thought that they were just paying for a one-time pay-per-view type of thing for their kids? Yeah. Will they maybe pay the $100 because they thought, again, it's a one-time thing, but they're paying for the whole year unknowingly? Yeah, probably. And that's about the only fucking retention I honestly think they're gonna get, unless they want to make this a constant thing where they put YouTubers or not just celebrities and shit like that in boxing events. So I know I saw Ryan Garcia tweet something like, oh, you know, this is good for the sport, and we need all the eyes we can get, and we need a new, you know, bring in a new audience, right? Bring in some new eyes to the sport. And as much as I get why he's saying that, because Ryan himself is a little YouTube, Facebook show star, like he's very social media oriented, so I get him defending that. And again, he's one of these younger generation dudes, right? I get it. I get him being like, hey guys, you know, it's not that bad. You know, just whatever. Again, we need all the eyes we can get. And if maybe out of all those, you know, thousands of people or even, shit, who knows, millions of people who tune in, maybe some will stay. And, you know, who cares? At least we got some to stay. I get it. But at the same time, he can't fucking deny that shit hurts. Because he's been dealing with issues with his manager and with his promotional company, Golden Boy, because he wants more money. And he thinks he deserves more money. So as much as he wants to defend these YouTubers, he's got to fucking admit that shit hurts him. To see the YouTubers who have, again, never sacrificed shit, not been homeschooled because he's focusing more on training, having to give up partying and all the normal teenage shit. Now these motherfuckers are headlining their own card and they're going to make millions. Right? They have to. They have to make a lot of money, and more than Ryan will. Or more than, not that he will, because I'm pretty sure eventually he'll turn into this big-ass superstar. But I feel like he already has all the following and shit, and he has, you know, millions, how many millions of followers and shit, so it's like, it must hurt him. And his ego to be like, holy shit, look at me, like, I could have just been a social media guy and done this and maybe made more money. Why am I sacrificing? Or look at all the sacrifices I've done, yet I'm still not headlining big events. I'm not making the money that I want. And I'm not getting the promotion that I you know, that he claims he deserves. So it's a little bit, I think, hypocritical for him to say that, you know, he approves of this, but then come around and bitch about how he's not getting paid what he needs to get paid and he doesn't get promoted like he wants to get promoted. Right? And it's that thing, is that in between of, he is a younger generation dude who agrees with the YouTube stars and them making money and how they can bring in new eyes, but at the same time, he's on the other side though. He's on the other side of the boxers who I'm pretty sure feel fucking disrespected if you are not making the same money as these YouTube guys and you're fighting in the undercard. That most likely other little YouTube kids that are tuning in to watch are not going to pay attention to you. And I know a lot of the boxers are just like, whatever, I'm just here to get the win and then go on about my day and who cares. But for Ryan specifically, I'm sure that shit's gotta hurt. You know, especially like I said, he's been having all these issues and all these complaints. So yeah, I mean, and obviously this shit's gonna be huge. This little fight with, I have no idea who the KSI kid is. Like, I've never fucking heard of him other than the previous time when they fought with Headgear. And then Logan Paul, I just know that's the one that got like in a bunch of controversy for filming a suicide, which honestly, like, what the fuck? Like, it's who continues to give these guys opportunities to make fucking money after they do weird shit like that. So that's just me. I don't mind it. I don't want to talk shit to people who are excited for it, because I don't like to shit on people who enjoy things. Like, I don't, whatever, you know, do you. But I definitely do side with the people who are like, that's fucked up that these guys are making much more money than the boxers themselves, and they're getting more promotion, and, you know, you're putting the boxers on the undercard like champions. Are you kidding me? Like, I get it. And again, in my opinion, it'd be better if they just put a whole fucking circus, put fucking, you know, boxers versus MMA fighters exhibitions in the undercard. Like, make it a whole fucking card of exhibition. You know, that way, if you guys want to draw in, get, you know, eyes from all over the fucking, you know, spectrum of the internet, get, again, MMA fighter versus boxers, or get some fucking bare knuckle boxing in there too. Like, bring them all in. Fuck it. Bring all those motherfuckers in that don't necessarily watch boxing but watch other sports. MMA versus boxing, bare knuckle versus whatever. Shit. Bring in Andre Ward to wrestle a bear. Some fucking, you know, anything. Mayweather versus Big Show. De La Hoya versus Shaq. Make it an exhibition. Like, don't bring in boxers and you know, I know, and a lot of people are gonna be like, whatever, they're getting paid, and I get it, and I'm pretty sure maybe some boxers, again, they don't have a problem with it. Like, they're like, whatever, I'm just here to fight. I don't give a fuck where I fight or whatever, just whatever, right? But I don't know. Again, that's just my opinion. I think it's corny. I feel bad for the fighters that are gonna be on the undercard, because they're not gonna be seen other than people that are, again, already have DAZN and are tuning in for the boxing and for the, you know, for the chismosos. But I don't know. Honestly, whatever. Let's see what happens with that. Again, if you want to check my interview with El Bandera Roja, David Benavides, you guys can definitely go check that out again on my YouTube or on my website. And that was really fun to see David Benavides. His dad actually called me earlier last week and invited me into the camp. They're training at Combinations Boxing in Lawndale, and you know, I fucked up because they told me to get there early, and I did. I got there like 30 minutes earlier, but I should have gotten there like early because Dimitri Bivol was there, and he trains there, and he does sparring there. So I was like, shit, like I got there just when he was leaving, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have stayed longer. I would have loved to talk to Bivol too, even though his English is very limited. I would see him at Legends all the time. So he like immediately recognized me. He went to shake my hand. And he's like, oh, okay, see you later, bye. And I'm like, fuck. Like, now I'm not in contact with any of these people, so I don't know how the fuck I don't want to just show up and be like, hey, Dimitri, can I interview you? You know, but I heard he's going to be in the undercard of the Usyk fight, which should be pretty nice to have him back. We still remember his last fight against Smith Jr., right? The guy that knocked Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. That's his name, right? Smith. What's his first name? I forgot his first name. Anyway, remember that in the 10th round, Smith, is it Smith? I think it's Smith, right? He like landed a punch right before the bell in the 10th round that like stunned Dimitri Bivol, and he like basically like shook his head like, oh shit. And he like took a little bit to like walk to his corner. So that was a really cool, pretty cool fight. And I'm really excited to see Dimitri Bivol in the ring again. I think he has a really awkward style. Like, he is the most awkward of the heavyweights, but also I feel like because of his tactical ability, he could definitely beat all of them if he doesn't get knocked out, because I think his chin might be a little bit suspect. We still have to see, but also he doesn't have like huge, tremendous knockout power like the other light heavyweights have proved. Right? Like, look at Kovalev, regardless of him being old and tired and fatigued and just washed, as many people want to call him, he still can end you in with one punch. Bertobib, he has tremendous power too, but he's also been down before. Volsdik, we saw what the fuck he did to Stevenson and the knockouts he's done in his career. So I think all of the heavyweights, all the other light heavyweights, I mean, they do beat Dimitri Bivol in means of power, but Dimitri just has this awkward style. He's really awkward, but very efficient in the ring, and I think he, again, speaking of technical ability, I think he beats them all if he doesn't get knocked the fuck out first. So I'm excited to see him in that undercard and the Usyk fight. It should be a good shit going on. I'm sorry if this podcast was boring. There's not much going on other than what's his name, the KSI Logan Paul bullshit that has the internet crazy. Benavides and Porter broke the internet a little bit when they were sparring, and they basically told me that the Benavides told me that they basically did that too, like, for publicity, because they Benavides was not going to go all out and try to fuck up Shawn Porter. Like, that's not what he was going to fucking do. Even though we know that Shawn Porter has beat the likes of Usyk and Sergey Devereschenko in the amateurs. But he wasn't going to go in there and be, full force, go off on Shawn Porter. So they basically just did that also for publicity, so that people would get hyped for this fight, because remember, it is pay-per-view. So they sparred 10 rounds. They basically did it for the gram, so that they can basically draw more people in, because that's fucking cool, right? Sparring each other, and it's cool. It's funny because Benavides Sr. told me that him and Bivol used to. I've seen Benavides Jr. Well, not. I think Benavides Jr. is the other one. Benavides David. He used to spar Dimitri Bivol, and I saw them sparring. Actually, yesterday was a year ago that they were at Legends sparring, and I was there. I saw it on my time hop, and so I seen them spar before. But I asked them, especially after seeing Bivol there in the morning. I asked them, I'm like, "Do you guys still spar Bivol?" And they said no, because Bivol only likes sparring 3 rounds with Benavides, and he wanted at least 6. And they're like, no. So I found that very interesting, especially because Bivol, again, is a heavier guy, at least division-wise. So I found that really interesting. Same with Zurdo. I did ask Benavides about Zurdo, and they said the same thing. They said that at first they were sparring, but then later they didn't want to spar each other. Well, that Zurdo didn't want to spar David anymore, because they knew that maybe sometime in the future he was going to have to fight David, so that they didn't want to spar anymore, which I thought is a little ridiculous. Like, just spar, who cares? But yeah, basically Zurdo turned down, according to the Benavides team, Zurdo turns down sparring with Benavides because they might meet in the ring in the future, and he doesn't want that. And again, I think that's fucking corny, but whatever, Yeah, check out that interview I have with Benavides. He would never fight in the YouTube Stars undercard. We talked a little bit about his little coke incident. I didn't say coke in the interview, but I told him about his little incident, and he's pretty open about it. I think that's the second interview I've had with Benavides, and he's very open about it. I asked him how come, what does he think about basically him being suspended for a whole year and getting his belt removed because of something that's not enhancing, but it's just recreational. Meanwhile, Big Baby Miller, he only got like 6 months suspension, and he's, rumored to be back soon, like before the year ends. And he had like a whole fucking pharmacy list of shit in his body. So it's crazy, and I don't. That's the part that I don't fucking understand. But whatever. Other than that, we did have Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, a press conference both in Saudi Arabia and in New York. And Eddie Hearn basically said, fuck LA, fuck you guys, fuck Andy's hometown. We're not doing a press conference in LA, which honestly sucks for us. But, I mean, I'll catch Andy at Legends whenever he comes back to training. But I thought that was petty as fuck. Like, you're just not going to do a fucking press conference in his state, in his like, big city? Like, what the fuck is that? Fuck us, right? New York and Saudi Arabia it is. Fuck everybody else. I thought that shit was petty, but we clearly see Andy, I think in my opinion, try to get a little bit of, I mean, he's being petty in a way that he's just there smiling, and we know that Andy is one of those guys that cada rato he's just smiling. He's a smiley dude. He's mellow. He talks like he's just this mellow guy. But I think he's doing it a little bit more right now just to kind of piss Anthony Joshua off. Like, he had the belts, and he's just looking up at Joshua with like this smile on his face, like, yeah, motherfucker, I beat you. And it's funny because today at the New York presser, Andy had a sombrero on, like a full mariachi sombrero. And I'm just like, he looks so ridiculous. But he's just there to basically just keep, shoving it in Anthony Joshua's face. Like, yeah, I'm the first Mexican to become heavyweight champion. Thank you for that. And I think I was talking to my friend Chris, and he's like, well, I think maybe Joshua's gonna get like really spiteful now and try to knock him out in the first round. And while I do agree, maybe that might be his plan, to just get him out of there early, and hurt him more than once before he can come back and hurt Joshua back. I think maybe if he gets too emotional, he might lose rationality. And again, if he keeps going at Andy just like that, Anthony can just catch him with the faster hands and combinations. You know what I mean? So maybe that is Andy's plan, to just come in and be like, piss him off basically, so that Joshua can come in and instead of being smart and box and work behind the jab, he's going to come in and just be reckless because he's emotional and he's angry. And maybe that's what Andy wants, but it's very comical, and I'm gonna try to get you guys an interview. I was just reading I don't know how the fuck it came up, but I was looking through my DMs on my Chicana Boxing Instagram, and I saw the messages where Andy first messaged me, and he's like, hey bro, I need you to, can you please repost this? And he sent me like a picture of him and Anthony Joshua. He's like, I really want to make this fight happen. He's like, please. He's like, I've been DMing Eddie Hearn and this fight, I please, bro. And he kept calling me bro because I feel like back then he didn't make he's seen me in person plenty of times even back when he was in Top Rank. When he was with Top Rank, he was still, when he first got there, when he switched from Abel Sanchez. He used to train with Abel Sanchez, and he moved on to Manny Robles, right? So ever since he's been there, he's seen me. I've been there like plenty of times. He knows who I am. But I don't think back then he put two and two together that be me, because I don't really post pictures of myself on my Instagram, on my boxing Instagram. So I don't think he knew that I was a girl, or that was my Instagram, So he was messaging me. He's like, bro, please, can you repost this? I want to make this fight happen, please, bro. And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I was just fucking laughing about that and how cool it is that he literally made that fight happen himself, and then he used the power of social media for he was fresh off people's minds, because ever since he made his return in the undercard of Valdez Quig, he's been knocking people out, and he's been, more active than usual. So I thought that was pretty cool. He didn't need his promoter, which, now is PBC, but back he just went with the social media thing, and it worked for him. So good for him. I hope he, repeats the dose on Anthony Joshua, but I'm still very intrigued to see how this goes. So hey, let's just keep going with whatever is gonna happen. I know Burchell is set to defend his title versus Sosa in November, and we'll talk about that as time gets near. But thank you guys for listening. Again, I think this was like a boring one because I'm kind of sick and I'm not in that same energy. Yeah, and basically, thank you for listening and follow me on everything, and I'll see y'all soon. And if you guys are at the fights and I'm there, because I'm not sure if I'm going to get approved. Probably not, because these are big events like the Spence versus Porter. That's a big fight and it's pay-per-view. So they're going to have a lot of media that's legit, not independent media. So I don't know if I'll get approved, but if I don't, I'll just go watch it at the movie theater, and you guys are more than welcome to join me. We can sneak in liquor, or if you all want to come to my house, you can order it. And yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll go live probably on Friday night, tomorrow night, or Saturday night on my YouTube, Chicana Boxing. So stay tuned and follow me on Twitter, because that's where I post all my updates and shit. So you guys have a good day, because I'm not having a good day. I'm sick. See you soon, guys. Bye.